this piece, I want to focus on holiday lets. So we've got a growing number of our landlords that have been moving more towards holiday lets, and within that category, within that description, I do mean service accommodation as well. It's a more cash flow rich strategy, so we get why landlords are starting to repurpose some of their existing portfolio and do that. So I thought this month we'll focus in on what are the sort of better, cheaper holiday let rates that are out there right now. So literally yesterday I checked and these rates are still available, but when they're gone, they're gone. So let's focus in on what's happening here with this particular lender. So the first thing I want to say is that these are variable rates only that you can get. Now, if you love that comfort blanket of a fixed rate, if you want that certainty of knowing what the rate is going to be, what your payment's going to be, so from a budgeting point of view, then this ain't for you. But if you've got more of a tolerance to risk, then maybe a variable rate mortgage isn't too bad. And particularly what I've said previously about interest rates pretty much sort of peaking out right now, then actually it's a really good time to consider a variable rate mortgage. So the rate, 5.15%. For holiday let rates, that's a really good rate on its own. Now, the usual thing I do find with holiday let mortgages, not just holiday lets, but there's a few buy-to-let lenders doing the same, is the sting is in the product fee or the arrangement fee, as it's sometimes known. And it's not unusual to be charged by a lender 2% or even 3% arrangement fee on your borrowing. So I know I've said here there's a minimum loan of 200 grand, but let's give an example. You've got a £300,000 mortgage that you want. And if that was a typical 3% arrangement fee, then you've got a £9,000 additional cost to swallow. Yeah, ouch, exactly. So it's balancing, looking at the rates and looking at the associated fees, usually the product or arrangement fee, to decide whether that particular mortgage is good value for money. So in this case, not only have we got a rate of just over 5%, but as you can see on this bullet point, the arrangement fee here is 0.3%. So instead of a £9,000 arrangement fee, it's a £900 arrangement fee. And all of a sudden, that's a little bit more palatable. So great combination in terms of rate and fee, which is why I wanted to focus on it today. As I said, there's a few caveats, so you might want to be jotting some notes down as I just go through these highlights. Minimum loan, £200,000. That's quite a bit higher than lots of other lenders in the market. So look, many of my landlords are buying larger holiday lets, and therefore a 200 grand loan is absolutely fine. It's not a restriction, not an issue. But if you're buying a 1, 2, 3 bed holiday let, or if you're buying a service accommodation property, which traditionally tend to be these slightly smaller properties, then are you going to meet that minimum 200k lending? Typically, alongside other buy-to-let products, we've got a 75% loan to value. Interest only, if that's what you want, which again, most landlords will go for. So it sits alongside the typical other sort of buy-to-let sort of parameters. Interestingly now, on this one, no minimum income. This is earned income. Now, there's a really growing trend towards this. More and more lenders over the last few years have started to do away with the requirement that the applicant has to earn a certain amount of income. It's really arbitrary. It has no bearing on what you're borrowing anyway. So it's a bizarre, blunt instrument, in my opinion. So I'm really pleased that more lenders are going away from that and focusing more on, as it should be, what rent, or in this case, holiday lets, what revenue is it going to bring in, and will that be enough to service the debt? So the only thing I would say, even though we're saying no minimum income requirement, that you don't have to meet a certain target, here's the thing about these things, is that the underwriters will still say, yeah, we may not have a minimum income. However, we want to know that whatever income you are earning as an individual, not the rental, what you're putting into your own pocket, is that enough to cover your own lifestyle expenses? Is that enough to cover your own unsecured debts if you've got any? So as long as the underwriter can see that whatever income you're pulling out is enough to cover your own outgoings, so you are self-financing, box ticked, they can focus then on the subject property and the rental and so forth. So yeah, I like that move towards this. Another really good attribute with this type of product is that this lender will also offer it not only on a personal basis, but if you want to put it in your SPV, in your limited company, yeah, absolutely no problem. Same rates as well. I do still see some differential with mortgage product rates if you're buying a property in an SPV compared to in personal. It's been moving more towards the same rates for a while, and quite a few lenders have adopted that. But in this example, we just have the one rate. So nice and easy. We know where we stand. Last point on here, there's a 3-year tie-in. So, you know, there's a little bit of a commitment. But 3 years, for me, I don't think that's too horrendous at all. So you got to know it. You're not flipping it. You're not, you know, you're going to be committing to that for the next sort of 3 years at least. Then absolutely, this is something that may well be of interest to you. So if there's anything within this piece that you want to discuss a little further, whether it's on this particular product or just chatting about holiday let mortgages a little bit more, would this suit you? Is it appropriate? Would you be eligible? Then at the end of this piece, there will be a link to our online diary. Cut and paste it or click the link and set yourself up sometime, speak to the team, and we will be delighted to help.